Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is simply going to be a recap of what we left off in the previous upload, which was ways on how to improve the quality of your video, or simply things that you have to look at if you want to improve the quality of your video. But before we get into the video, guys, I want to welcome back my old subscribers. Welcome guys. To my new subscribers, welcome to the family. But if you haven't subscribed yet, guys, what are you waiting for? Subscribing is free, man. Click the button and make sure that your post notification bell is turned on as well. In case I upload something, you'll be the first one to be notified. And always make sure that you like, you comment, and you share the video, guys. It really helps the channel. All right, without wasting your time and my time, let's get into the video. All right, so the first thing that I want to touch on whenever you even start recording whatever you have to record or whatever you want to record, always, and I'm telling you, always make sure that your camera settings are set correctly. Doesn't matter whether you're using a professional camera or you're using a phone. Always make sure the following things that I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to talk about now, are set the way they're supposed to be set before you even start shooting anything. All right, the first thing that I want to talk about is resolution. When it comes to resolution, guys, always make sure that you utilize your whole sensor. If your sensor shoots in 4K or 6K or 5K or 8K or whatever resolution your camera shoots, the highest resolution your camera shoots, make sure that you utilize that, and I'm going to tell you why. All right, whenever you shoot in a high resolution, it's always an advantage for you because obviously, even if I shoot in 8K, I'm not gonna export it or give it to my client in the same resolution that I shot it in, you know, because most of the displays that we have now here, or the displays that we are utilizing now here, or the standards that we are currently on right now, don't require me to give you any footage in 8K or 6K or 5K, you know. I always have to downgrade it to 1080p, which is a standard for all the displays that we have now, you know. So that's why it's always advisable to shoot in the highest resolution, and when you downgrade to 1080p that you have to give to your clients, or you have to give it to whoever you have to give it to, it still retains the details, you know. It won't lose as much details as when you shoot it in the frame rate that you want to give it to your client, and you know. So if you shoot it in 1080p, which is already a lower resolution in today's standards, and then you export it again in 1080p, it's gonna lose quality. Trust me, I've learned from experience, and when I'm telling you this, it's because I know. Make sure whenever you are shooting, shoot in the highest resolution that your camera can shoot in, so that whenever you export it in the resolution that you want to export it in, so you can give it to your client, it still retains the quality that you want, you know. All right, so the next point is aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Guys, I'm not going to stress this as much as I'm going to stress it now. Always make sure that these three things are set correctly before you even start shooting, because if you mess up any of them, sometimes it's very hard to recover or to rectify whatever mistake you made before you even started shooting in the first place. All right, so when it comes to ISO, make sure that your ISO is set to the correct value before you even start shooting, because your videos will either be underexposed, too underexposed sometimes, or too overexposed to even save the highlights in post-production. So when I talk about ISO, I talk about how sensitive your sensor is to light. So the higher the value, the more sensitive the sensor is to light, and the lower the value, the opposite. So always make sure that your values, whenever you are outside, if you don't have this, if you don't have a variable ND filter, there's just a filter that cuts out a lot of light, you know, from entering your sensor while shooting in the settings that you want to shoot in, you know. Like I said, always make sure that your ISO is set correctly, because if it's not set correctly, guys, sometimes in post-production, it's going to be difficult for you to get the highlights back and the details back that you're going to lose whenever your ISO is too high. And whenever it's too high, like, your videos have a tendency of being noisy, which is another issue that you have to face again in post-production. And trust me, like, you don't want to go through that hassle, guys. So always make sure that your ISO is set to the correct value. All right, so when it comes to shutter speed, always make sure that your shutter speed is set correctly as well, to achieve the cinematic look that we always try to get from all our videos. When I talk about shutter speed, I mean how fast your shutter closes and open every time it takes an image. Like normal pictures, videos are a composition of a lot of pictures in different frame rates, you know. So how fast and how slow your shutter opens and closes before it takes a single shot determines how your video will end up, like the motion of your video. So always make sure that your shutter speed is set correctly. If you don't understand what shutter speed is and you really want to get into like, you want to know how shutter speed works, please, the internet is full of that information. If you Google it, you definitely get the information that you're looking for, and you definitely have an understanding of what shutter speed is. But always make sure that your shutter speed is set correctly. For instance, let me say for instance you're shooting your video in 4K but in 24 frames per second. For you to achieve the cinematic look that you need for a video to look pleasant in your audience eyes, you need to make sure that 24 you double it by 2. So your shutter speed is gonna be 1/48 of a second, just for you to get the proper natural motion that you're looking for when it comes to a video. I don't know, I don't know how to explain it to you guys, but like I said, it will make you achieve the proper natural look that you're looking for when it comes to your cinematic videos. So if you're shooting in 24 frames per second, you times that by 2, so it will be, your shutter speed will be 1/48 of a second, you know. And if you're shooting in 60 frames per second, you double that. The shutter speed will be 120 of a second, you know. Always double your frames per second to get your shutter speed. So yeah guys, shutter speed, ISO, and aperture, these things really go hand in hand. You really have to be careful on how you set them. All right, when it comes to aperture, your aperture is how open your lens is, the lens that you're using, to allow in light to enter your camera so that your sensor can receive as much light as it can. So whenever it comes to lenses, the different type of lenses you have, they always have a mark on them, you know. Not only normal lenses for normal cameras, but even on your phone, it states how wide your camera lens can go. Either 1.4, 1.2, 2.8, 1.8. Those are your aperture values. So the lower the value, the wider the lens can open to allow light to come into your sensor. That's why whenever you have a lower value, your camera tend to allow in so much light, and that's when you get that beautiful bokeh, like that beautiful compression. Whenever you are shooting a subject, like the behind gets so compressed and out of focus that it creates a beautiful blurred out background. That's why most of the time you need this when you're shooting in the daytime, just to cut out some of the light that's gonna come to your sensor, because your lens is gonna be wide open. So this is very handy guys, this is very handy, and I advise people, if you have a camera, always have an ND filter on set, because it will save you so much hassle. All right, so like I said, aperture is how wide your lens can go, like how wide your lens can open to allow light to come into your sensor. The lower the value, the wider it opens. The higher the value, the smaller it opens, and it allows in little light to come to your sensor. From the little information I'm giving you guys, I want you guys to go out there as well and just find time and research these things for yourself, you know. I just gave you the basics of how these things work, and I want you guys to go out there and research on how they really affect how your video looks at the end of the day. All right, so like I said, ISO, shutter speed, aperture, all these things go hand in hand. If one is off, the other one won't work the way it's supposed to work. If for instance, let me say for instance, you are shooting in the daytime and you don't have an ND filter, obviously your shutter speed is gonna be more than what it's supposed to be. You're not gonna get that cinematic video that you're gonna be looking for. You're not gonna get that beautiful motion in your video, that realistic motion in the video, because obviously you have to crank up your shutter speed just to make sure that you're not too overexposed, you know. But yeah guys, like I said, please do research on these things. They really make or break your video. Like, I don't want to spoon feed you guys, because on my side I was never spoon fed, so I want you guys to go out there as well and research on these things. I'm just giving you the basics for the ones that don't know about these things. I'm just giving you the basics, and I want you guys to go out there and literally just go according to these sections, from ISO, shutter speed, and then aperture. Just try to understand how they come together as one to give you that flattering video that most cinematographers look for. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about is light. And I always tell this to people, guys: light makes or breaks your video. If your video doesn't have enough light, it's not gonna look nice and it's gonna be noisy. And if your video has light, but your light is not set the way it's supposed to be set, or it's not set correctly, your video is still gonna look bad. It's gonna look overexposed. It's just not gonna look good at all. So always make sure that you have enough light that is set up the way it's supposed to be set up, not only to make the video look good, but to bring out the mood of the video that you're looking for, you know, at the end of the day. So always make sure that your lights are set up the way they're supposed to be, and always make sure that whatever angle you put them in is what you really want, because if light is not put out correctly when it comes to video shooting, it will make or break your video. And it goes the same for the next thing that I want to talk about now, which is sound. What's the point of having high quality video with beautiful lighting and your sound is not up to standard? You know, no matter how good your video is, make sure that your sound is up to par as well, because like guys, sound makes or break your video. You cannot have beautiful visuals and your sound is bad. Make sure you invest in these, guys. These are lovely mics, just to make sure that your sound is up to par with the video quality that you are achieving at the end of the day. And if you're using a phone, there are small lav mics that you can buy as well, that you can connect on your phone, which allows you to get amazing sound quality with your phone. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about, guys, is framing and composition. Guys, I cannot stress it enough, guys. You can have the best quality video, you can have the best sound, you can have the best lighting, but if your subjects are not placed where they're supposed to be placed, or if whatever you're shooting is not in place where it's supposed to be, guys, your video is not going to look good. So always make sure that your composition and your framing is the way it's supposed to be for you to achieve whatever quality you are trying to achieve when it comes to your videos, you know. And I always tell people, whenever you're using a normal camera or your phone, doesn't matter, always make sure that you put your grids on. It allows you to get that flattering composition when it comes to your framing, you know. It literally makes your work easier for you, instead of having a clear screen where you don't even know where your subject was the last time you were shooting. So it's always advisable, guys, please always put your grids on. They really help. As anything else that I've spoken about before, guys, composition, lighting, sound, your camera setting when it comes to shutter speed and ISO and stuff, guys, all these things come together as one. They need to be harmonized, you know, to make the video work. And like I said, if any of these things are off, trust me, you can have the best camera, the most expensive camera, the best lenses, whatever, but if your shutter speed is off, your video is off. If your ISO is not right, your video is off. If your sound is not right, your video is off. You can get away with voiceovers, but it also depends on what video you're shooting. So voiceovers don't really help if your original sound is not the way it's supposed to be. All right. The last thing that I want to talk about, it's not really something that I think will really have an impact on your video, is stabilization. Always make sure that your stabilization setting is set, like is turned on in your settings, just to make sure that if you're walking and you're holding the camera, your footage is not shaky, you know. It's gonna be a shame if you have a beautiful video and your footage is all over the place. If you can afford, guys, or if your camera comes with it, always make sure you turn it on, guys. Some of these settings are free, and you can utilize them whenever you want them, guys. All right. So like I said, guys, always make sure that all these things, you go through all these things before you start shooting, because they'll definitely make or break your video, guys. These are the only things that I think, from my own point of view, have an impact on your video, you know. So if none of these things are done right, guys, your video is never gonna come out right. Yeah? And like I said, I don't want to spoon feed you guys. I don't want to give all the information to you guys. I want you guys to go out there as well and just research on these things, you know. It will help you more than me giving you all the information. So I would want you guys to go out there, Google, and make sure you understand the concepts of how ISO and shutter speed and aperture and sound and all those things come together as a unit to make your video work. All right. So yeah, guys, I think that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope the video was informative for you guys. So yeah, guys, like I said, go out there, research, man. Research as much as you can. I mean, you cannot know it all, guys. You cannot know it all. Even the things that I told you guys now, probably when you go out there and research, you might find out that I actually missed out so many things that I didn't even tell you guys, you know. Listen to what I'm telling you guys, but always leave room for you guys to go out there and actually research on what I'm telling you, because what if I'm lying, you know? So please guys, make the time, make the effort, and go out there and research on these things, because they are very, very, very important when it comes to cinematography. All right, so yeah guys, I think I'm done. I hope, like I said, I hope the video was informative for you guys, and I hope you guys learned a lot from the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did recording it for you guys. And before I leave guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. Join the family guys. Subscription is free. It doesn't even take anything from you guys. Click the red button, make sure that your notification bell is turned on to make sure that you get the first notifications whenever I upload a video for you guys, and make sure that you share, you like, and you comment on the video. So thank you so much for your time guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me today, and yeah, until the next video guys. Ciao.